What is up, everyone? Episode 4 of the series here. So we're going to go through the last week of May. Very, very good week. And we're going to talk through everything that we're looking at with the accounts. Spoke to you guys about the FTMO that I started. I just took one trade in that to get that going. Realised it's actually a 4-day minimum trading. So need to be taking trades on that every day in case there's a few good trades that take me through to that phase 1 profit. As for the alpha accounts, there's a lot going on here. But yeah, look, I've done it. I've officially done it. Obviously, a lot to talk about with that. Phase 2's passed now. We'll go through this week how that managed to occur. But I'm buzzing. Obviously, alongside me, I've got my mate Ruben as well. So we're doing this together. And I couldn't have done it without him. We work together. Synergy at the end of the day. People know that when you trade with other people, it just helps you keep accountable. It helps you question each other's ideas and analysis. And yeah, we managed to do it together. So onwards and upwards from here, making sure that we go one step higher every time, looking to get these other accounts passed now. But I said to you guys, start of the series, I said, look, a couple episodes in, likely it's not going to take me that long. And I don't know when the first episode was, probably about a month ago I recorded it, and already here, so buzzing with that. We're currently in the 3rd of June now, so we're in the next week, but I'm going to go through the whole week, what I was talking about, what moves that were taken. And in fact, from the last episode, you guys remember, I was in an EU buy. That trade I ended up closing out, so we're going to start off with that. I'm just going to go through how I viewed the week anyway to start with. I think this is the week going into the 27th. So yeah, this was going into the last week. So I think as you could see on the DXY, we'll start off on that. We have got the overall weekly, and the 104 level is what I've spoken about quite a lot. We're still not breaking past that, and we're tapped into it on that week as well. So that's 2 weeks coming into it. We're going to mark out previous weekly highs, potential obstacle. And also, the reason why I do that is because on the daily, you'll see in a minute, the chances are that if we couldn't break 104 again, we're going to take that high out. With also having this weekly, little weekly order block here. I think that's probably now valid. If we can come back into that, break that high, will probably come in. Then looking to see more downside. So I'm still overall bearish on this. I want this to come down. And we're currently not really getting much information off that candle apart from it's somewhat weak bullish. We may have to come back higher. But the daily time frame also shows that we've just had a nice upside move and we've took ourselves into this weekly. I suppose we've done the imbalance fill there on the previous week. So we're looking to come down overall. I think the problem we have is all this liquidity set up on the daily that I wasn't sure on. So I'm currently in that EU trade. If we go back to this from the start on the weekly here, you could see that you're in this area. You don't really know too much if you're going to be seeing us break through this weekly. I'm going to put it to the left. I don't think it's necessarily a problem yet. Actually, this is it. This is where we had to close. So coming into this week, you didn't know if this was a potential future order block. We didn't manage to do an imbalance fill on this. We managed to create a fair value gap, which price may have to come back down into if it's going to continue up. Also, like we failed here before, we've come up and broke the high here and failed here again somewhat. So a lot of conflicting ideas. Now, obviously, I had that buy-in from here. And the DXY idea really was that if we can't see us come and break this liquidity to start the week, then we're going to have to come and potentially go back down on EU. So the liquidity is there on both. They're very much aligned. If we can't break 104 and we get candles closing below on the daily, I'm not interested in carrying on with that downside movement yet. Same goes for this. And I'm holding this trade from the previous week. My entry was somewhere slightly above this daily. This is pretty much higher time frame position that I had. And obviously go back to watch that last video if you didn't check that one out. Targeting the high, I think. And up to start the week, about, 1.5 hour, nothing crazy. But let's see how we started the week. So I was going to hold it until we saw failures at this weekly again. I was giving it a chance to continue up. So there was no medium time frames in this week. I just really want to hone down on mostly a higher time frame play week here. From EU to start the week with setting up for GU for the week as well. We're going to discuss how we look for that. So the difference is with this pair, you're not actually coming into any weekly issues yet. If anything, this week showed you that we actually broke this fair value gap that we had problems at. So I'm still very bullish on GU overall. That's obviously now taken out. And if we're looking more within the weekly, we do have an imbalance created here. So I'm going to mark that up as well. So there's a chance we could pull back into that if we can't continue up, but we need to see daily rejections yet. And the only real area I see is obviously we're somewhat within this okay order block. We're in it, but really now I'm looking at this wick as an unmitigated one to have a target at for upside. Let's get that out. So what I can gauge from this is that ideally, if we can take this high out to start the week, I'm looking, which we do on the Monday. Now we've made a new high here. I'm seeing this as a potential pullback area for further buys. Obviously, when you're buying on the higher time frames, you don't really want to be buying up here. On the daily time frame, or within the 1 hour legs and the 30-minute legs, you can be buying somewhere within the lower areas of the day. But I'll never want to be buying at the top of the daily candle or the top of the weekly. This is the premium area now for buys to try and play up to this high. So as we can see, if we mark this in, I look for a position pretty much at this daily. It doesn't really get any more simple than that. I keep saying it, but it is just simple. Not much expert ideas or analysis need to be going into this to be able to look at these trades. It's about a 3.5 hour, I think, to that high. I think that's initially where I had the target. So we're waiting for that to get set up. Right, so we're all set for the week. DXY Monday pushes down into this. We're not failing at this liquidity yet, so I'm still expecting more downside. Same for EU. We closed bullish. Now we tapped into this weekly. All right, cool. We might have to break this low to continue up. But there's no rejection yet. You know, the candle wick isn't that big. The body's still decently sized. Really, it's the next day what we're going to come into. Now, I think at this point, after we come into this liquidity, I'm looking at this high. Same on GU there as EU with that daily. So on EU, we come up and then we see a bearish candle. So off that, you can gauge that I think we tapped 50% of that daily. We just missed 50% of that daily. The whole idea of if this is liquidity and we're just going to carry on through it with trend, we're not going to see issues at it. So now we've seen issues at it. The big thing is that if we don't have price coming up, then I would say you've got equal lows on the daily down here. I would say price is the next port of call for price to come down to this previous weekly low. Because that's just been created, it's almost like you're looking for price to come into that weekly now. Where it slightly didn't do the same on GU is that we had that initial failure to upside. And really, once we come down here, I'm not really expecting that to come and break the low. EU, previous week, remember, if we look at it, it was bearish. We didn't know if we're going up. Didn't have a confirmation on the weekly. GU in my eyes had a weekly confirmation. So I'm not really expecting the previous weekly low to break if we're going to continue up, because I don't see price having issues yet. To come back into a weekly, we can do it. I'd preferably like to see an issue at a weekly, PLY to the left and upside, to give us that idea to come down, right? So as for what happened here, DXY, we clearly failed at 104 again. How many times? That's a clear target. So when you see EU there, we're now looking and coming into Wednesday. Can we take out that low? Can we take out that high? Next day does it. So I was looking for a move on this day. Didn't quite set up for a medium. Let that go and go. Took out that. So now we're into this weekly. So now I'm expecting price to seriously be in a premium area for continued downside in DXY. GU, done the move down nicely. Didn't quite tap me in on the Wednesday. But as Thursday comes in, you can see I was tapped in there. So really nice. Got that bullish close. And on phase 2 here, on EU actually, in fact, didn't need to backtrack. This trade that I was in didn't get hit, obviously. Come very close to TP within 5 pips, and I ended up seeing that close once London come in on the next day. Unfortunately, Asian did push down a bit, but I was able to close out around 1.4 hour profit. I had about 0.4% swap, so about 1 hour overall for that trade. Managed to catch. It clawed back the loss that I had on my 100k phase 2, so that's 1.5% down, then to be in break even on it. Then this GU trade was taken, and obviously you can tell by the actual R, I would have ended up passing. This trade plays out, end up passing overall. So what happened is, coming into like Thursday, Friday now, I just need this trade to play out for it to pass me. Think making a judgment on EU for the week. I think after we see that and we come into the weekly, all right, it did end up pushing up to finish the week there, but it's quite rangy now. And I think there's a lot of indecision on DXY as well. We saw DXY there on Thursday, Friday again, try and come down. It's just a bit iffy, you know, it's not the best. As for GU then, I changed the daily wick. We come in, tap 50% of it. Not really wanting that to be a wick now. You could potentially mark up this as being a new target if you're being a bit more tight with it. So I ended up moving the target a little bit there to that, being 50% of that. You can see we already tapped into it when we made it, so it kind of nullifies the bottom of it. It's not really the best of wicks anyway, but just because I'm a bit more uncertain with the way DXY is moving, that GU can have issues anywhere. I'd rather use most recent price action than go back further left and try and work out an area. So that's the area I've now defined as a target. I was going to pass phase 2 at this level here. We're going to go at 60, yeah. 600 there we're looking to pass. And you can just see how it played out there coming to Friday. So in fact, it ended up looking like it was nearly coming back to my entry and then took me out up here. So I'm still in phase 1 with this trade. So if we go on to the whole thing here, you can see that that's been passed. I still haven't received my credentials for my new account. We've then got the account here that I was down 7.5%. I don't know if you can see the overall statistics here. I'm not sure why it's not really coming up. Not too sure. But yeah, been trading this account for a while now. This account was down 7.5%, wasn't it? So the EU trade took me back. It's about 5% drawdown, and then currently on this trade, I'm still in profit on it. I'm at break even, and you can just see it's not looking very good now. Maybe just didn't quite manage to take the high out and continue the trend. Maybe we're going to see a bit more of a pullback into this weekly now. So if I see today's candle, now I'm break even on this trade, take me out. I'll be down 5% on phase 1, trying to go for a new challenge to get past. If this plays out, I'll be up about 6% on it. If today closes bearish, without stopping me out, I'll be just closing this trade out anyway. Because in reality, it's just not good enough now to see upside before taking out this low and coming into this weekly. So the judgment would be there to close that trade out. So yeah, the higher time frame positions, it's funny because even though obviously they've managed to get me past, EU didn't play out, would have lost if I didn't close out in profit. This trade is not looking the best, so maybe that's not going to play out. But they're not always going to play out, are they? And there are always going to be times where you have to make judgments if the trade's going to win or not. But as long as you can make them judgments and not be clouded by emotion, then you'll always tend to make the right decision. There'll be the odd time it'll still play out, but overall, I still have the ability for this trade to win. And I'm risk-free, and if not, I'm going to have to try and claw back this 100k from this week onwards. But now for me, the sight's on getting that 100k, risking 0.5%. So you know I've been risking high. I'm not going to do that on the actual account. This is where a lot of traders will also just try and go for it now. They've managed to get 100k funding. They're going to go and risk 2%. But no, 0.5%. That's the standard for me until I get more capital, so I can merge my either accounts and trade one risk on that, or have 3 accounts, so trade 0.25 on one, 0.5 on another, 1% on another. I'll never lose all my capital, you know. So yeah, you can see there that we're just trying to now get this one back. I've got 100k I haven't touched. This one here hasn't been touched. Just trying to get the trading days up on that. This one's been passed. So much going on. Even it confuses me sometimes. So the achievements are there. You can see managed to pass the phase 2 and phase 1 there. So pass phase 1, 14th of May. Pass phase 2, 31st of May. And my goal was in May to get 100k funded. So it's been achieved, but I know this is just the start of it. It's not any means making me money yet. So still need to be taking things step by step. But what fills me with confidence is, and this is what everyone here can take on if they end up getting the challenge passed, is that once you do it once, you know you can do it over and over again. So the mentality starts to shift and you get a different vision and a different perspective on where and how you trade. And look, I'm maybe not doing it the right way. It might be a bit unorthodox here, but this way is going to propel me forward to get max allocated funding on Alpha by end of summer. By end of August, probably say it now, I'd like to be 300 to 400k on this. And FTMO, I'll be trading this slightly as well. I want to be 200k on FTMO by probably same September, August. I want to be max on these by the end of the year. I'll say it now, very, very early on to say that, but I want to be 800k funded minimum, maybe even pushing a mil to the end of the year. And if I can do that and make 2%, 3%, risking half, you know, that's about 5-6R a month. You're looking at 30 grand with profit split and all this. You're making 5 figures a month, let's put it that way. And you can live well anywhere across the world with 5 figures a month. We're not talking lavish lifestyles, maybe in more developed countries. You're going to be living amongst very wealthy people anyway, but you're just going to be able to pay for basic essentials without stressing about life. And this is why I wanted to do this, and this is why I want to showcase the journey of getting to that point, because I've been sticking to this for well over 4 or 5 years now, and only now am I starting to see some results. And I know it can be taken away from me quickly if I don't keep the mentality there. So I'm just trying to drill it into you guys that this is very important, and you don't let things slip when you start to get cocky or confident in the market, because only it takes one bad month and you could be wiped out if you're not careful. So preserve your capital, be careful with it. And the goal is now to try and get more allocated funding, get a live account popping with withdrawals, try and get myself a nice little 5-figure account on the live and be able to start building that, because longevity comes more from that than the prop firms. It's nice to be able to have these at the minute. I'm sure they'll probably stay, but you don't know which ones are going to stay, how long they're going to stay for, and what regulations might be put in place down the line. So it is about making the most of these prop firms, but at the same time, keeping that mentality of being a good trader, taking things day by day, week by week, and not ever thinking that you're better than the market, really. So yeah, big things to come from me. I think, yeah, pushing a few more payouts and stuff, probably start uploading these and start doing things that are happening in live time. So I'll be able to actually show you guys how the weeks are going in real time, which is what I want to do. But yeah, the pressure's been off me, and that's why I've been able to perform, because I haven't been stressing about having to prove to anyone what I can do. And it's just been nice, me and Ruben sitting there doing what we need to do and just smashing out the market. And it's great, you know. And yeah, long we prosper into the next few weeks, few months, and get more allocated and funding. And I hope you guys are with me on the journey. Some may be already highly funded, some maybe not even funded yet, but these are the steps to get there, and I'm sure we'll all get there soon. Alright guys, take care, see you in the next one.